Welcome and thank you for joining us for the 2021 PICS International Studies graduation celebration. Once again, these are the YouTube and Facebook links, and they're in the chat also for your friends and family to follow along. And don't forget to point them also and go yourselves to the PICS graduation webpage, where you'll find even more celebration of all of our graduates. A search for UMich, PICS, and graduation should bring you right there. To give you the run of the program today, first I'll make some welcome remarks, and then we'll have two of the highlights of the program, our student speaker, Marley Durst, and honored speaker, Ambassador Susan D. Page. And then our presentation of PICS Honors graduates with Honors Coordinator, Dr. Anthony Markham. And then we'll have a virtual walking across the stage as we'll read everyone's name who's here today celebrating with us. And then we'll unmute together communally in our grand send-off. So hello and welcome to the University of Michigan Graduating International Studies class of 2021 and to their parents, family, and friends. I'm Rob Franzese, the director of the program in International and Comparative Studies, PICS, which houses the International Studies major and minor. And I would like to welcome you to this virtual commencement celebration of our 2021 graduates. What an extraordinary year. Literally and thoroughly extra, as in out of and way beyond ordinary. And what an extraordinary, as in exceptional, cohort of fantastic graduates to have not only persevered, but to have excelled through their extraordinarily, well beyond ordinarily challenging collegiate years. We congratulate you, we celebrate you, and we admire you for these accomplishments. And also my and our very great thanks to the tremendous PICS staff. What a formidable team. Brenna Warner, Kelsey Banfield, Rachel Wright, Gabrielle Graves, and the inimitable Natasha Grudin-Bogovich. For all their tremendous works to mount this wonderful program tonight, and for all that they have done and do for our international studies students. An equally great gratitude to our fantastic PICS core instructors. That's Doctors Greta Euling, Anthony Markham, and Howard Tsai, and Professors Melanie Tennelian, Mark Dincheko, Scott Stonington, Ranghild Nordash, Lecturer Clementina Sula, and all our PICS graduate student instructors, Liz Brennan, Martise Johnson, Kara Thuringer, Courtney Peterson, Hojung Ju, Tiha Zhao, Colin Guerin, and Omar Ilyas. What an extraordinarily challenging year it was for administration and instruction as well. And yet, through your amazing dedication and tireless efforts, it was an extraordinarily successful year academically as well. Today, though, is a celebration of our outstanding international studies students. Today, you graduates are the focus of our attention, and you have earned our congratulations. And as a faculty member, I also give my personal gratitude. I say thank you for your interest and for your earnest engagement with each other and with this fine institution, and for allowing us faculty to have the great experience of teaching you. It's really a joy and a privilege. Congratulations. So yes, today we celebrate our graduating students. Now, not so long ago, it was very common for some to deride their generation for being apathetic, allergic to work, having little curiosity and still less attention span. We might notice, though, that similar things are said about every generation by those older. Socrates, for instance, is supposed to have said, "Children today are tyrants. They contradict their parents, gobble their food, and tyrannize their teachers." Although apparently that was actually just some margin note scrawled by a drunk 19th century philosophy student. But in any case, the point stands. And these graduating students of UNIVM International Studies, they're manifest and conclusive testimony against such complaints. This is a cohort, our 11th graduating cohort, that came of age in the post-financial crisis era, entered college in one of the most polarized and politically tumultuous times in recent history, and now is enduring, is fighting through, overcoming to succeed marvelously through this coronavirus pandemic. Today's graduating PICS seniors are, to a person, extremely engaged, motivated, and industrious applied scholars. I believe they're destined to become the next greatest generation. Thinking back to their arrival on campus, students come to the University of Michigan, and parents and family send them, expecting a world-class education. And yes, rightly so. We have world-class faculty, we admit world-class students, and I believe and I know that we do together generate precisely such world-class education here at U of M. Many students enter this university with these kinds of high expectations and also with a tremendous curiosity about the world outside the US. with a drive to learn languages, to travel beyond the United States for academic and applied experiential purposes, and to study and conduct research on global and international issues. Here in this program, in PICS and in the International Studies major and minor, we add value to the Michigan experience in just this way, with our central emphasis on engaged international learning about the world beyond our borders and about our integral place and role, individually and collectively, in that world, today's exciting and thoroughly, I think, marvelously globalized world. Our students have taken this step of broadening their academic horizons thusly by earning the International Studies degree. Tell you a little bit about IS. The idea behind the IS major, founded almost 12 years ago in September 2009, was to provide a program of study that spans disciplines, from economics to anthropology, sociology and political science to history, languages, arts, and literature to environmental and health sciences. A program that spans disciplines to enable students to study complex global issues, issues not exclusively the purview of any one discipline or specific to any particular country or region. Issues and problems not easily addressed and redressed at the nation-state level, much less the individual level. And what kinds of issues are these that our international studies student scholars study, you ask? I'm glad to tell you. They study globalization and development. They study inequality and cross-cultural conflict and communication, terrorism, trade, human rights, cultural transfer and understanding, technological transfer and the spread of ideas and of artifacts, environmental wonders, concerns, and disasters, and of course, pandemics and global health, and much, much more. See, international studies is that diverse. It comprises 4 subplans ranging from comparative culture and identity to international security norms and cooperation, to political economy and development, to global environment and health. And the international studies major is rigorous in its academic approach to these diverse subjects. A 6-semester language proficiency requirement, a sophisticated research methods requirement, advanced core courses in the student's subplan, a regional focus requirement, and deep engagement with at least 2 disciplines across LS&A and in fact across the entire university. So today we celebrate the graduation of the 2021 cohort of international studies students who have accomplished all this and more here at the University of Michigan and beyond, academically and already in the world. PICS, then KICS, so the Center for International Comparative Studies, an international studies minor, started as a minor in the International Institute in 2006. The major came online in 2009, accepting its first class of majors in 2010, so that graduating cohort in 2011, making today's graduates our 11th anniversary cohort. IS is now one of the largest majors in LSA and has graduated in its first 10 cohorts over 2,000 majors and over 250 minors. And today, our 11th cohort going to add 210 majors, 8 of those with honors, and 11 minors. In addition to managing the major and minor degree programs and their curriculum, PICS this year hosted for our international studies students and the U of M community 13 career events, including 2 PICS alumni career panels, with 23 PICS alumni and professionals represented across these events. These diverse, popular, and extremely productive PICS alumni events connect students and alumni to talk about career paths after graduation. A couple of examples. PICS alumna Caroline Logan talked to students about her incredible and incredibly rewarding experiences as manager with the UN International Organization for Migration in Yemen and Syria. And a recent graduate, Ali Abazid, who is now the public health advisor with the National Institutes of Health at the US Department of Health and Human Services, focusing on global public health. He spoke with our IS students about thinking global, acting local careers in public health. Additionally, PICS helps support internships, research, and study abroad for our international studies students. This year, PICS helped fund in this way 20 students for virtual internships and research, as you know. And we have partially funded in this way well over 600 students since our inception. We want to thank our donors for their generous support that allows us to award these student fellowships. That's the Amy Rose Silverman Fellowship, the Mr. and Mrs. William Siegel's Longwoods Fellowship, and the Andrea and David Scott's Arctic Fellowship. Also, through a continuing partnership with the U of M Donia Human Rights Center and the DC-based international human rights firm Perseus Strategies, PICS was able to offer again, virtually of course this year, the International Human Rights Fellowship internship, which is an opportunity for a student to work with Perseus's managing director and world-renowned human rights lawyer, Jared Genser. Some of the amazing and exciting things our graduate students accomplished through these PICS-supported virtual international experiences include, to mention just a few of the over 30 students receiving support, PICS supported 2 Arctic internship fellows, Phoebe Johnson and Ellie Simon, for a summer at the GREEN program, Iceland Renewable Energy and Sustainability in Reykjavik, Iceland. PICS supported 5 William Siegel and Margaret Swain Longwoods Fellows this year, including Adam Cohn, who spent the summer interning at the capital markets team of the Zeller Realty Group, Hannah Kurikose, who engaged in independent research for her honors thesis, a comparative study of urban farming as a tool to mitigate food insecurity in Detroit and Toronto, Claire Lacey, who interned with Bravia Consulting, a public affairs agency in the UK, Patricia Lee, who was a social media intern at the mental health nonprofit organization Breaking Taboo, where among other projects, she helped develop a mental health infographic tailored to myriad diverse communities, and Georgia Wood, who was a research assistant for the CoronaNet project, focusing on Spain, where she was tasked with coding how the Spanish federal government had responded to the coronavirus. PICS also supported 3 students through the Amy Rose Silverman Fellowship. That's Emma Giesberg, who interned at the Adrian Arsht Rockefeller Foundation Resilience Center at the Atlantic Council and participated in global environmental and climate development programs. Alexandra Pejas, who interned with Washington, D.C.'s National Immigration Forum Integration Program, and Karuna Nankumar, who completed a summer internship at the Anti-Slave Labor and Human Trafficking Clinic in Belo Horizonte, Brazil. This year's PICS graduating seniors include supported study abroad in Argentina, Senegal, Spain, Czech Republic, France, Costa Rica, Austria, Ecuador, Germany, Russia, Peru, China, Jordan, Switzerland, and Japan, all virtual. Today's graduating class of international studies majors and minors comprise an accomplished and celebrated group indeed. For a few more examples, and again, just to name a few of the very many, the 2021 LSA Honors Convocation saw recognitions for 7-term Angel Scholars, Marley Ray Durst, Ellie Rebecca Simon, Evelyn Lucille Winter, and Felicia Jean. Overall, PICS had 51 2- to 5-term Angel Scholars among our majors and minors. Graduating PICS minor Karuna Nankumar was named part of the Schwartzman Scholars class of 2022 and is a Rhodes Scholarship and Marshall Scholarship nominee. And the 2021 graduating members of Sigma Iota Rho, SIR or SIR, the Honor Society for International Studies, include Benjamin Bronkema Becker, Catherine Carpenter, Camille Cummings, Annabelle Farkas, Haley Gritz, Mary High, Sue McCanuri, Grace Kramer, Tom McGowan, Michelle Nguyen, Hannah Schneider, and Claire Weil. And the list could go on and on. I'm always very happy to continue talking. But we want to recognize too our terrific PICS faculty and instructors and outstanding PICS staff for their enormous dedication to our international studies students. So for instance, you could, as you review our PICS graduation webpage, you could note the recurrent recognition and deep appreciation from so many of these graduating students for their wonderful international studies courses and other experiences in the program. And so now what will they do with this wonderful Michigan education and experience, this outstanding cohort of international studies graduates? What will they do and where will they go next? Well, they will continue to study further or enter the world of work. Recent years exit surveys show 74% going on to employment and 18% into graduate studies, with top fields among these destinations, including education, medicine, public health, government, business, and law. And so what will they do and where will they go in these first postgraduate destinations? They will continue to study further or they will enter the world of work with valuable knowledge and skills related to engaging here at home and abroad around the globe, engaging productively and with delight, with people knowing some of their cultures and languages and literatures and governments and policies and economies and religions and fashions and art. Where will they work and where will they study? Recent PICS alumni work at the University of Michigan and in Michigan Medicine, go blue, in the US Congress, the Arab American Heritage Council, the Clinton Health Access Initiative, the Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies, Booz Allen Hamilton, RWE Renewables, US District Courts, the Open Society Foundation, Perseus Strategies, among other prestigious destinations. And they go on to graduate studies at the University of Michigan, go blue again, at Michigan State, for some reason, I guess. They have some programs that are good. Vanderbilt Medical School, UCSD, UC Berkeley, NYU, City University of New York, Columbia, Yale, Harvard Law, Cambridge University, the London School of Economics, and other top institutions around the world. They have founded their own companies. They volunteer for Peace Corps and Teach for America. And they have been awarded, for example, the Thomas R. Pickering Foreign Affairs Fellowship, the Liu Xiaobo Human Rights Fellowship, and several Fulbright Fellowships. In short, they will experience and prosper globally. And where will they go? Their parents are probably wanting to know. I mean, like geographically, where are they headed? Well, Michigan, New York, and outside the US are the three top destinations of our PICS graduates. So where will they go and do all these amazing things? In a word, everywhere. International studies is truly a global major and a world-class education, ideally fitting our globalized world. So students, you say now at the end of your time in college, and what an ending this year, whew, we made it. Well, yes, you made it. Now continue forward. This is the beginning, not the end, of course, of your adult journey, and you are ready. You came to this world-class place. You gained world-class educations and experiences here and around the globe. And so now go and do world-class work from here forward. You are thinkers and doers. That is, combine your thinking with doing. You are leaders and best. And maintain your pride in what that means. To lead best is to use your head for constructive, productive thinking and problem solving. Your heart, your inspiring devotion and enthusiasm, and your actions with strength, stamina, action, and effort. And you will use this all, your all, to lead and do these things to improve our world. I'm absolutely certain of it. So congratulations to the 2021 graduating class of the University of Michigan International Studies. And now we're virtually clapping. And now I'd like to introduce our student speaker, an inspiring and accomplished young woman, Marley Durst. Marley Durst, who has a BA in International Studies, BA in Spanish, and a minor in Education for Empowerment, graduated in December 2020 with a major in International Studies. She was Comparative Culture and Identity Subplan and Spanish, and a minor in Education for Empowerment. In her time at the University of Michigan, she was involved with the Spanish Language Internship Program, the Edward Ginsburg Center for Community Service Learning, Michigan Animal Respect Society, and the Victors FC soccer program. She had the opportunity to study abroad in both Costa Rica and Spain, as well as to complete an internship at an educational summer program in San Francisco. Next year, she's planning to teach English in Spain through a government program there. And in the future, she hopes to work in the field of global refugee and migrant education. And now I'd invite Marley to join us with a speech.
Okay, thank you, Rob, for that great introduction. First off, I want to say congratulations to my peers. We did it. I also want to say thank you to all my classmates, my wonderful friends, my professors, and my family, especially my parents, Nancy, Dean, and my siblings, Jake and Reggie. This past year, more than ever, we have been met with the harsh realities of an interconnected world. I don't feel the need to explain the relationship between globalization and the spread of the coronavirus pandemic to individuals like all of you with a global perspective. And I apologize for not being able to write 2 lines without mentioning our oh so obvious reality, but as international studies students, we cannot ignore the interconnectedness of our world. We've spent 4 years learning to look at it this way. We have also been taught to understand and compare the great variety in societies and cultures, their customs and structures of government, including all their drawbacks and advantages, which has in turn led many of us to question our own nation's institutions. We have learned how the long global history of colonialization has created structures that continue to sustain and fuel oppression and injustice today. How the climate crisis, the homelessness crisis, the food insecurity crisis, the refugee crisis are all connected to each other and to this cruel past. Even so, we know there will always be too much for one single person or even a collective to learn everything. After each international studies class I took, I experienced the paradoxical feeling that the more I learn, the less I know. Every concept, system, structure became more complex as I came to better understand it. As this irony is the crux of our education, we must practice humility as we move forward from our studies at the University of Michigan. Prioritizing humility, however, does not mean we allow ourselves or our education to rest, settled contently in the limitations of our knowledge and accomplishments. Instead, we adapt to this impossibility of knowing everything. We think dynamically, creatively, deeply. Let's use these tools to solve problems and to lift our understanding to ever higher levels in connection with others, while knowing there will always be more to learn. As we go forth from our university experiences, this humility must also translate to our relationships with others. People and societies are intricate and must be approached with respect and openness, never judgment. Our international studies education has shown us that the complex issues and injustices we see in our world must be observed from multiple perspectives, even if our biases try to lock us into one particular lens. We must gain collective understanding and work to resolve these problems, not as individuals, but as teams, organizations, states, communities. Whether your focus is international security, norms and cooperation, political economy and development, comparative culture and identity, or global environment and health. Our education has helped us develop a humble understanding and appreciation of the complexity of these issues. Rather than being daunted by this, we need to push forward. We recognize the incompleteness and uncertainty of our knowledge and use it to inspire us and to learn more. When we entered U of M's campus 4 years ago, the city of Ann Arbor was new, exciting, and maybe a bit overwhelming for us. Now, as many of us leave our favorite little corners of campus and the places we have come to call home, we continue our journey into a much larger community. As we encounter new individuals and new places, we will learn to recognize our privileges, but also our potential. We will learn to push the limits, but also to respect them. We begin to understand the world when we realize that we will never understand everything about it. We probably could have reached this understanding without a global pandemic, however, one unfortunate side effect of the interconnectedness of our world, among so many other positives. Luckily, our opportunistic minds push us to learn from it. As we head into our next steps, we know we will make a difference. With humility, courage, and love in our hearts, let us make it a positive one. Go Blue.
Outstanding. Well, thank you, Marley. So with that tough act to follow, we have it's my great pleasure to introduce our graduation speaker, Ambassador retired Susan D. Page. Ambassador Page is a Harvard-trained lawyer with deep expertise in international relations, particularly in Africa. Originally from the Chicago area, she earned her Juris Doctor, JD, from Harvard Law School, and by far more importantly, her AB in English with high distinction from the University of Michigan, along with further certificates of distinction in English and of merit in psychology from the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. Ambassador Page began her foreign affairs career in the U.S. Department of State in 1991 as attorney advisor for political military affairs in the Office of the Legal Advisor, after finishing a Rotary International postgraduate fellowship to Nepal, where she conducted research on women's and children's rights. Ambassador Page also served as USAID as a Foreign Service Officer, regional legal advisor for East and Southern Africa, based in Kenya and Botswana, and as a political officer in Rwanda. On November 16, 2011, Susan Page became the first U.S. ambassador to the new Republic of South Sudan. She subsequently served as acting permanent representative to the African Union and the UN Economic Commission for Africa, and chargé d'affaires to the U.S. mission to the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. In other service, she has chaired the U.S. government's multi-agency security governance initiative, SGI, team for Ghana. She was special representative of the Secretary General, SRSG, to Haiti, the UN Secretary General's special advisor on rule of law, global focal point, GFP review implementation, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, covering Central Africa, Southern Africa, and Sudan, and legal and political advisor to the Horn of Africa's Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, Secretariat for Peace in Sudan, where she co-drafted essential elements of the 2005 Comprehensive Peace Agreement, CPA, for Sudan. I see that other agencies like acronyms almost as much as U of M does. In addition, she was the director of the Rule of Law and Corrections Advisory Unit of the UN Mission in Sudan. That's UNMIS, for those of you keeping score at home. Regional Director for Southern and Eastern Africa at the National Democratic Institute, NDI, in Washington, D.C., and Senior Legal Expert in Rwanda and Sudan for the UN Development Program. That one I know, UNDP. Along with several other State Department awards for her work on Sudan, South Sudan, and the Great Lakes region of Africa, she was awarded the Sue M. Cobb Award for Exemplary Diplomatic Service in 2015. In August of 2020, Ambassador Page returned to us at the University of Michigan to join our faculty as professor of the practice of international diplomacy at the Gerald R. Ford School of Public Policy, Weiser Diplomacy Center, with a concurrent appointment as professor from practice at the University of Michigan Law School. She is also a faculty associate of the African Studies Center, the Donia Human Rights Center, that's DHRC, and member of the DHRC Faculty Steering Committee of the International Institute. So it is really my very great pleasure and honor to introduce Ambassador Susan D. Page.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frenzies. It's a real pleasure to be with you all today and to wish you all a huge congratulations. So bravo. I'm a little embarrassed with all of the credential reading, and I often say that, you know, titles don't make who you are, rank and degrees and whatnot, but of course they do help to get you further along the way. But just to comment briefly on what graduation speaker Marley Durst just said about humility, I often say that, you know, my mother and father did not name me ambassador, they did name me Susan. So with that, I will get started. Dr. Robert Frenzies, Dr. Anthony Markham, directors, faculty, and staff of the program in International and Comparative Studies, the Centers of the International Institute, all of the technicians, event planners, the planning team members, all of the behind the scenes people, parents, friends, thank you all for your support of this amazing class of 2021. Thank you to the graduates, and unfortunately, for organizing yet another virtual ceremony. And finally, all of you, class of 2021, graduates with majors or minors of the program in International and Comparative Studies, fondly known as PICS, congratulations. Day has finally arrived and your hard work has finally paid off. So let's give everyone a virtual round of applause, if at all possible. I know that some of you can see each other, so congratulations, class of 21. So, graduates, over the past 4 years of your undergraduate career, you have expanded your horizons through the interdisciplinary study of issues that transcend borders. You learned and deepened your knowledge of particular cultures, as well as of distinct political, economic, and social contexts through PICS. Perhaps nothing has shown you more clearly interconnectedness of the world and the fluidity of boundaries than living through a global pandemic for the past 14 months. By living through a once-in-a-century possible extinction event, you and your families and friends, and indeed all of us, have missed out on celebrating birthdays, holidays, religious or cultural festivals, and of course, we've missed the cherished milestones together and in person. For most of you and your community around you, this entire year has been one of trauma and pain, doubt and judgment. From the central question of whether Black lives matter as much as other lives, we witnessed mostly unarmed Black and brown men and women killed by law enforcement officers sworn to protect us and our communities. But we witnessed hope as well. Hope in the form of waves of massive and almost always peaceful protests by people of different ethnicities, backgrounds, cultures, religions, and histories. People gathered and walked through big cities, towns, and rural enclaves. People gathered in places like Black Lives Matter Square in Washington, D.C., to South Korea, Zimbabwe, Brussels, beyond. Ordinary citizens from different nations made their voices heard about racism in the United States. And they also stood up in their own countries, calling for an end to police brutality or a return to democracy. Also, during these past 4 years, you have witnessed the rise of autocratic regimes and a shrinkage of democratic space around the world. You have seen elections challenged, voting suppressed, and election results overturned in some countries. You witnessed a riot and insurrection at the US Capitol and the misinformation that led up to it and the fallout that continues from it. COVID-19 pandemic has cost millions of people their lives and robbed us of the contributions such individuals could have made in the world. The pandemic demonstrates yet again the fragility of our planet and the entire ecosystem. It has shown us all the inequalities within countries as well as between nations. And of course, this once-in-a-century pandemic fundamentally altered the way we communicate. All we have to do is look at one another through our virtual screens that we're doing now, and instead of celebrating graduation in person together in Ann Arbor. Through it all, you, the PICS 2021 graduates, took all of these challenges, all of these crises, and turned them into opportunity. Your generation is exactly what we need at this momentous time. Theologian Howard Thurman said, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." So let me leave you with a few thoughts as you embark upon your next adventure post-graduation. As you come alive, I want you to live. L-I-V-E. L. Lean into the learning and the lessons that you acquired here at U of M. In the midst of these ambiguous times, lean into hope. Take the lessons you've learned here forward, even while you continue to learn throughout your life. I. Integrate and innovate. Integrate the domestic with the international. Our world is intertwined, not always in the same ways and not always on the same level, but we still only have one planet that we must ensure survives. Use the tools from the virtual new world and create new technology, new informatics, new systems. Invest in yourself, your own knowledge and study so that your innovations can be scalable and interoperational globally. F, fun. Don't forget to make room for joy and serendipity. Be open to your journey and the path it may lead you. Remember, your passions may change along the way, but don't forget to stop and smell the roses. E, engage and embrace. Engage your community, the personal, local, and global. Embrace the challenges and view them as opportunities, just as you have done so far. Encounter each challenge with grace and courage. Don't be afraid to take calculated risks. Set goals. Along the way, listen more than you talk. Your voice can be used whether it is spoken, written, walked, or in your actions and activism. Life means taking care of yourself too. Water your own garden. It's impossible to give to others when you yourself are depleted. Grateful. What we learned in kindergarten still holds true. Remember to say thank you and please. Be nice to one another, even as you seek out your dream job and as you rise throughout your career. Even with your dreams and aspirations, sometimes you can't get there immediately. You may need to take a job that is not what you dreamed of or that you're not passionate about. You may hear people tell you that you're, quote, selling out by working for a corporation rather than a humanitarian or rights-based position with a nonprofit. You may feel guilty about doing so in order to earn money to help your family, or to pay off student loans, or to care for someone before you can embark on your passion. That's okay. None of us know the rocks someone else is carrying in their backpacks. Don't apologize for taking care of your responsibilities. So do whatever job you have as well as you can. Life will throw you curveballs, but you can still live your calling of the moment with passion. There is value in all work that does not harm one another, that does not harm another. Take calculated risks even as you take nothing for granted. Be courageous, be diligent and disciplined, just as you have been during your time at U of M. Live up to the highest standards of integrity and ethics. Do no harm to yourselves, to others, or to our one and only planet. So be open to life, L-I-F-E, to accept new views and to be open to new thoughts, opinions, peoples, and cultures. Titles and degrees don't define your character or your values. So be humble and lift someone up along the way. So let me just close by repeating Thurman's words to you. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. 2021 PICS graduates, go do what makes you come alive. This world needs each and every one of you to just go do it. As Angela Davis said, change the things you cannot accept. So be the change you want to see in this world. Congratulations.
And so that was terrific. Thank you very much, Ambassador Page, Susan. Actually, I always say that Dr. Franzese is my wife. It causes a great deal of confusion. Yeah. So we'll now give special recognition to our honor students. And to do so, I'd like to introduce the PICS Honors Plan Advisor. Dr. Anthony Markham is Lecturer 3 and Coordinator of Experiential, Independent, and Honors Education for the Program in International and Comparative Studies. Anthony Markham's research and teaching focuses on peace and security in world politics. His work addresses issues surrounding international wars and crises, military occupations, secrecy, and political accountability. Dr. Markham's current research concerns post-war politics and how states use military occupations to enforce their preferred peace against former opponents, presently producing several manuscripts on the initiation, duration, and outcome of military occupations from 1815 to the modern day. So I'll have Tony recognize and honor our International Studies Honors Plan students. Tony?
Thank you, Rob, for the kind introduction. First off, I want to thank everyone for participating in our virtual take on the International Studies graduation ceremony. I especially want to thank the friends and families of the International Studies Honors cohort. You've played a critical role in furthering their project that they've completed and to the knowledge that they've given to the world. Whether you know it or not, you have greatly assisted them in their success that we celebrate tonight. Now I'll take a brief moment to describe to you the honors plan and what the students have gone through and accomplished this past academic year. The path to honors, the project usually starts before the students submit their proposal in August. Oftentimes the ideas, the subjects, the puzzles emerge long before that, whether in a class, from an experience, or even as part of a personal acquaintance. The interest has been there for some time. So coming to the fall semester, the students begin to navigate the process of how to turn that interest into an academic project. Throughout the semester, the students presented their questions and possible answers and received feedback from myself as well as other members of the cohort and had to give it to each other on a regular basis. They also learned the components of a thesis to validate their knowledge and contributions, learning how to write lit reviews, how to craft a methodology and design to create an answer that was valid for their question. During this time, the students, of course, worked with me and another substantive advisor to help in guiding this project to fruition. Near the end of the semester, these 8 had a massive amount of knowledge for the next stage. In the winter term, the students had to turn these ideas and knowledge into a coherent narrative. Doing so meant writing a lot, turning in new chapter revisions this week, peer edits the next, and the cycle renewed itself again and again. The 8 researchers did this from January up until recently, the end of April here. Finally, they came to their thesis defenses where we, the researcher, the substantive advisor, and myself would have one final conversation about their work. In our theses this year, our researchers wanted to understand a variety of topics. I'll now announce the names of each researcher and let the title of their thesis speak to their work. Benjamin Braun-Kema Becker wrote on displaced pensioners and peace in the Donbas conflict. Camille Cummings wrote on lessons in gender equality, the potential translation of the Scandinavian policy model in Burundi and Rwanda. Nicholas Daniel wrote about leapfrogging development, analyzing the trends of urbanization in sub-Saharan Africa, westernization versus the informal economy. Hallie Gritz produced a thesis on the stories of success, strategic connections between the Madres de Plaza de Mayo and the Marea Verde in Argentina. Grace Kramer wrote on primary education inequality and policy in Sweden and China. Jalal Mauri produced his thesis on Ansar Allah in Yemen, history and ideology. Madeline Ozina wrote on how social enterprises coordinate cross-sectoral solutions for informal settlements, a case study of Terra Nova in Brazil. Finally, Hannah Schneider wrote on Ujima and the egalitarian paradox, the correlation between socialism and contemporary public service disparities between villages in rural Tanzania. In joining the honors plan to answer these questions, each of you entered as students. Now, these 8 are emerging peers in their chosen fields. And looking back, I hope they all realize just how much each one of them has accomplished since that first time we talked about writing a thesis. I know that I'm proud of the work that each one of you has completed in that time we've known each other. And I look forward to what each of you will achieve in the coming years. Congratulations on your well-earned success, and go Blue.
Thank you, Tony, and congratulations to our honors cohort. So now we will honor our 2021 International Studies graduates with the traditional walk across the virtual stage/screen as I read their names. Yeah. Okay, I'm ready. So sorry about that. Right. So first we have Jaylene Angela Acevedo. Dina Ahmad. Vedika I. Galikar. Sangwan An. Selena Asamoah. Naomi Barlava. Blake Beers. Caitlin Kathleen Bell. Grace Elizabeth Biermacher. Joseph Daniel Blatter. Benjamin J. Brankema Becker. Liliana Lily Kumaj. Miranda Josephine Lepere Camp. Joseph Ryan Carpenter. Catherine Marie Carpenter. Nicole Kerry. Madalasa Chowdhury. Matthew Chan. Gabriela Chernyak. Cameron Nicole Shimotaro. Samia Monet Clay. Scott Morrison Cohen. Adam Isaac Cohn. Sarah Kendall Connolly. Catherine Corbet. Zoe Devlin Corset. Camille Cummings. Nicholas James Daniel. Catherine Ann Davis. Sai Rusmi Davud. Deepali Desai. Annika Devon. Danae Brielle Diaz. Margot Dickstein. Ella Louise Draplin. Samantha Lynn Drozdowski. Jillian Sky Drzezinski. Marley Durst. Ava Catherine Easterwood. Julia Marie Eben. Kimia Esmail. Annabelle Farkas. Christopher Sonny Lee Fang. Sophia Rose Philippe. Sabrina Fossey. Peter Evan Georgenis. Gabriela Maria Giganti. Emma Claire Gisbers. McKenna Marie Gray. Haley Erin Gritz. Emily Elizabeth Gruber. Katarina Lee Gulpin. Lauren Marie Guido. Maria Christinas Linus Gaitinko. Brenda Harvey. Melanie Aliyah Hawkins. Ying Chao He. Marie Claire High. Eleanor Mariona Hirschman. Jennifer Ho. Isabel Grace Hoekstra. Rachel Huang. Zilang Joshua Hewing. And Nida Heisey. Kelsey Rose Johnston. Suma Kanori. Nizreen Kokar. Elisa Lynn Knight. Ariel Cohn. Hana Kuriakose. Clarice Helen Lacey. Elizabeth Sydney Lawrence. Michelle Labose. Patricia Lee. Drew Robert Leishman. Julia Rose Lifton. Claudia Correa Lopez Balboa. Jason Scott Marshall. Lindsay Mattia. Jalal Maori. Kayla Elizabeth McCormick. Thomas McGowan. Ronnie Catherine Mehta. Marina Meyer. Rachel Newman Melanie. Madeline Alberts Mozina. Karuna Nunkumar. Samantha Brooks Nelson. Hannah Summers Noglos. Celia Ruth Olashansky. Melanie Ong. Alexa Orlandia. William Jacob Overland. Jada Lee Parker. Rachel Faye Para. Julia Rose Pascale. Alexandra Payas. Elena Ann Porter. Rachel Price. Samantha Rose Redlick. Seth Mendel Reinhard. Alex James Rodenbeck. Robert Rolls. Rebecca Jeanette Rooks. Samuel Beck Rosenblum. Isabel Seville. Emily Diana Schmidt. Hannah Joelle Schneider. Selma Ahmed Shaker. Caroline Elizabeth Shootman. Madeline Ann Saunderby. Fatumata Salmauro. Laura Stahl. Annalise Maria Sticchetti. Alexis Rebecca Stern. Erin Grace Strauss. Damaris Salvadora Stroker. Ariel Vivian Stir. Lauren Joan Suga. Samantha Marie Shuhai. Marissa Susan Thomas. Lillian Michelle Varner. Theodora Chloe Voorhees. Hannah Marie Walsh. Shangbo Wang. Jack George Zervalik Webb. Shu Chan Wei. Claire Elizabeth Weil. Evelyn Winter. Georgia Grace Wood. Ying Shuen Wu. Yoon Young Shia. Yejin Yang. Isabella Zampiarolo. Felicia Zhang. So we're so proud of our PICS graduating seniors. So if you will, seniors, please unmute yourselves now as we'd like to show our live audience all of our PICS class of 2021 graduates who joined us for today's celebration.
You want to unmute?
Hello. Congratulations, you.
Go Chili!
Congrats, you all.
So thank you, everyone. If you'll mute back, that was terrific. We were doing a cheer in Zoomlandia here, but our program today is concluding. So please be sure to stay in touch with us through PICS social media. That's at UMich etc. And do visit the PICS graduation webpage. Once again, I think a search for UMICH, PICS, and graduation, those three words, so that'll bring it up right away. All kinds of tributes to each other and to your experiences and times here. So graduates and families and friends, please go enjoy. So our program today is concluding. Congratulations, be well, and always go blue.